Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by last year's winner. That's right, the champion of FPL in the 2023-2024 season, Jonas, to preview Game Week 4. First of all, Jonas, can I have a quick look back at Game Week 3? Another green arrow for you. Obviously not the best rank right now, but a solid week, right?
Could have been worse. Could have been better.
Exactly.
80 points, a Game Week rank of about 1.5 mil, I think. I'm fairly happy with it.
It's not bad, is it? It's not bad.
Yeah. My transfer didn't go as well as I expected, but maybe it will pay out later.
Let's talk about the transfer. So was it Gibbs White that came in?
Yeah, it was. And he got 1 point. He played 90 minutes and got a yellow card. I think, yeah, a yellow card.
So exactly what you wanted then. That's perfect. A return.
Yeah.
Wow.
The same amount of points as Nkunku I transferred out, but Gibbs White haven't fallen in price, and Nkunku is, I have no idea how low it is now. I can check. 6.2, 6.2. That's pretty low.
Wow. Yeah. That the triple price falls of Nkunku, and I think Kwanzaa's getting close to a triple price fall as well. It's very, very tough. I mean, I don't know, what was it like last season? Obviously, you had a pretty good team. But you said that at the start of this season, you didn't have the most amazing start of all time. It was the wild card where things really started clicking for you. In terms of team value, is that something that you care about a lot? Is it important to build team value start of the season?
Well, I value it more at the start of the season rather than later on.
Yeah.
And I think especially with players who we knew were big risks like Nkunku and Kwanzaa, who a lot of people owned, and when both of them are not going to start, a lot of people are going to sell them as well. I think it's fair enough to just get rid of them and dodge the price falls. But with players like, for instance, Esse fall in price, Bruno Fernandes fall in price, those types of players I'm not worried about really, because I know they will play. I know they're 90-minute men, and I know returns will come.
Yeah, a good point. That's the difference, isn't it? Like those sort of players, you're guaranteed for them to at least have the potential to score points in every single week. Whereas, the players that aren't getting in the team obviously are much more of an issue. Yeah. Let's come on to your team then for next week. And it looks pretty strong again, right? You've got to be relatively happy. It's got a team rating of 93%, gaming rating of 93%. Just run me through it. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking about rolling my transfer this week.
Okay.
I think my team is strong, and as I only have one free transfer, I can't see a route to get Salah without taking hits. And if I were to make a transfer, it would be for him, but I'll have to take a hit to get him, and I trust my midfielders.
Okay. Bruno Fernandes is the name that sticks out to me there as someone that, I mean, it doesn't really work like this, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, if I've had a player that hasn't returned in 3 weeks, I need them to return. Obviously, the point where the points come from doesn't necessarily matter. But do you kind of feel like that a little bit? Are you moving towards like last chance saloon with him, or is he still fine?
Well, I am thinking of wildcarding in Game Week 6. They're playing Southampton away and then Crystal Palace away.
Yeah.
And I think both of those games are viable to start Bruno Fernandes. And as I said, he's a 90-minute man. He will take penalties. I don't think I'll prioritize selling him ahead of my wild card, which looks like it's going to be in Game Week 6.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, let's talk about benching headaches. You have a couple. Obviously, you have 8 attackers. Well, I mean, maybe you don't. But the fact of the matter is you do have 8 playable attackers. So let's start there. Gibbs White, your transfer in last week. According to the predicted points, he is predicted, according to Fantasy Football Hub, to score the lowest out of your 8 attackers. Is he going to be on your bench?
Yeah. I always knew about this when I transferred him, because I knew João Pedro had Ipswich, and I knew I could play Rodgers against Everton at home. And that left me with the player that I needed to play in Game Week 3 and Game Week 4. No, Game Week 3 and Game Week 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Gibbs White stuck out for me.
Okay, so he's on the bench. And then in terms of defense, I actually really want to hear your thoughts on this, because Konza, Porro, Robinson, I think they're pretty close this week. The predicted points have Porro quite a lot lower, actually. I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that, especially given the news to Arsenal players. What are you thinking there?
I honestly haven't decided yet. We saw the Konsa injury yesterday. I have no idea how severe it is,
Yeah.
but as of now, I have Pedro Porro on the bench, and I'm starting Konsa and Robinson. Um, Konsa, I will start 100% unless we get news about his injury and that is out for the weekend or whatever.
Okay.
My only headache is Robinson versus Pedro Porro, and I haven't decided yet. But as of now, I'm on Robinson, and I had the same dilemma last week, and I opted for Robinson over Porro that time as well.
The thing with Robinson is that obviously he's scored very well so far, right? Picking up 2 assists.
Mm-hmm.
But just looking at the Opta stats here, um, it's quite tough for me to get all this in frame, guys. So I'll explain exactly what's going on. But his assists, right? His 2 assists have come from an expected assists of 0.06
Yeah.
per per 90. So it's not like I don't know how indicative that is of future points, but there's no doubt about it. He's got pretty lucky to get 2 assists so far, right? Whereas
Yeah.
if you compare that with Porro, who I'll go on now and look at his stats, I mean, no, much higher expected assists, despite the fact that I'm not sure if he's got one yet. No, he has got one, has he? No, he hasn't. He's just scored one
No,
goal.
he had a goal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But
So better expected numbers. But does that mean anything?
well, yeah, of course. But then again,
Yeah,
Robertson's
fair.
playing West Ham at home and
Yeah.
Porro playing Arsenal at home. And in the end, you buy defenders for clean sheets. But of course, offensive threat is always a big bonus, which Porro has a lot of, and more than Robinson, more than Kansa, maybe not more than Trent. I don't know, but yeah,
I think the main thing is like, do you expect West Ham to score in that game? Or maybe it's more of a case of Arsenal are definitely going to score, West Ham potentially might not. I'm not sure. Like I'm not sure if this is one of those times where looking at the predicted points, I'm not sure if Robinson and Porro are 0.7 points apart.
no, I don't think so either.
Okay,
I think it's pretty close. I think it's 0.2 or whatever that really should be between them.
okay, interesting.
But but I don't know.
Yeah, all right. Captaincy pretty obvious this week. Has to be Haaland, right for you?
Yeah, for me it's Holland.
If you
Uh,
had if you had both Salah and Haaland, would you still go for Haaland?
yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Not even a debate?
yeah, really. Yeah, I think I would go Holland either way. Holland has a nice home game against Brentford, coming back from back-to-back hat tricks. Salah also obviously has a nice home fixture against Forest, but I'm pretty certain I would go Holland either way, just because he's been insane the last couple of games.
I think that's the big thing, isn't it, this week? Like if you don't have Salah, it's actually okay. Obviously, we expect him to do well, but if you've got Haaland, that's just an easy captaincy option.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to have a look at your AI recommended transfers. But before that, I just want to look at your Game Week 5 potential moves. Obviously, you're thinking about this, rolling the
Mm-hmm.
transfer to then have 2 next week. So what are your plans? This is the great thing about the tool, Fantasy Football Hub's My Team tool. You can skip forward and input future transfers in and see what your team looks like in those weeks. Obviously, something that you cannot do directly on the FPL website. So yeah, tell the people, what are you thinking for Game Week 5?
As I'm wildcarding in game week 6, I could go with 1 week punt, and I've thought about doing both Saka and Haaland, both of them out to Salah and Watkins, who plays Ipswich
I
away.
like it. I
No, he
like
doesn't.
it.
He plays who
He
does he
does.
play?
He does. Oh no, he doesn't. He plays Wolves.
He plays Wolves.
Wolves
Yeah,
at home.
yeah,
Ipswich a week after.
yeah, right.
Oh, that's aggressive. That really is aggressive.
Yeah, but it's the week before the wild card,
Yeah,
and I think it's viable. I
very
think
interesting.
Watkins has been well. We will have to see what happens to his minutes because I would be a bit concerned if I owned him right now, coming back from I think it was 360 minutes in a row, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And Duran has done really well when he's come on as well.
exactly.
Mm,
Exactly. I think it's a worry that
yeah. So I'd
he's
have
had a
to.
knock. That's the thing, which we didn't realize. But now it's been disclosed that he has been playing with an injury, and then, as you say, the form of yeah, John Duran is also worrying for Watkins' minutes moving forward, even if he's fully fit. I would say.
Mhm, without a doubt. So I just have to monitor his minutes and see what Unai says before the game against Wolverhampton, and then take my last decision.
Okay. Let's have a look at your AI recommended transfers now. I will ask you actually before I tell you what these are. How certain do you think you are on a Game Week 6 wildcard? Because on the recommended transfers, you can input down here at the bottom your chip strategy. Because obviously, if you're going to wildcard in Game Week 6, as you said, then you can punt in Game Week 5. You can sell Haaland. Whereas who knows, you might not want to do that necessarily if you weren't wildcarding in Game Week 6. So can I input the fact that you are likely to wildcard in Game Week 6 on here?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. That would change things, I think. Well, who knows? It might not. It might not. But yeah, that's the great thing about this is that if you've got, a set plan in place, I'm also very likely to wildcard in Game Week 6. Then, yeah, you put it in and that will then determine what you do with your team, or it will change potential transfers that the AI recommends. Interestingly, after doing that, the recommendation has changed from rolling to actually going with what the alternative was. So now it's saying don't roll, actually be more aggressive
Okay.
and sell Bruno Fernandes for Jota.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I think Jota he's in good form, and he's a fantastic player who is likely to play up top for Liverpool, but feels a bit wrong to sell Bruno ahead of Southampton, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I
Yeah.
suppose it just kind of depends. It depends, how much you want to keep backing this guy. But yeah, I think this is not the week to sell Bruno personally. This is surely something's coming this week. No, I mean, like, yeah, he's not done too well so far, but it's one of the best possible fixtures you can get.
Well, he has done really well on the underlying stats, and especially
True.
in
And how many points have you got for that so far?
7.
That's not bad. It's not bad. But
I
yeah,
think.
no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, of course.
Mm,
It's a tough one. It really is. It's a tough
it
one.
is. I think I'll have to keep patience and keep faith in him.
Obviously, you're not shy about the fact that you're an analytics manager. You're big into your stats, your underlying data. At what point, obviously you're going to wildcard out of Bruno potentially, or at least you have that wildcard. So there's no point wasting a transfer on him now. I think I'd 100% agree with that. I think most people watching would agree with that.
Hmm.
But at what point does the fact that someone's underlying data isn't matching their actual output, when do you make that decision as somebody that does really analyze the underlying data and the analytics, that it just might not come? Like, do you ever actually get to that decision, or do you think that there will be a regression towards the underlying data at some point?
Yeah, I think I agree with you on the last one.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it really depends on their fixtures, because let's say you got really good underlying data, but you haven't gotten any returns, and then you have City and Arsenal in the next two, then I would maybe think about selling.
Yeah.
But if you, as Bruno, good underlying data, no returns yet, but has Southampton and Crystal Palace in the next two, wouldn't sell him.
Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Yeah, pretty aggressive recommendation by the AI. We don't normally see it as being as aggressive as that.
Well, the main reason as I'm rolling is because I want Salah in game week 5.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and I think in game week 5 he's by far the superior captain choice.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, and then you have like the likes of, yeah, for instance, Heung-min Son, who plays against Brentford at home as a captain choice, but I think Salah is the by far the best captain in game week 5, and that's why I'm looking to get him in for that game week.
Interesting. Very interesting indeed. I think, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with all of that. I think that he is the best captain, and I'm going to, well, I've already got him in this week, but the only reason I've got him in was for Game Week 5. Obviously, expect him to do well this week, but you
Mhm.
don't need him necessarily this week. I think you've got captain
Well,
option is there.
if I had an option to have him this week without it costing me -4 points, I think I would have done it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, that is your recommended transfer. Doesn't sound like you're going to be doing it. Longer term plans are in place.
Mhm.
But yeah, guys, if you would like to check out your own recommendations for your team, as I always say, the link to sign up to Fantasy Football Hub is down below. If you want to use all the stats, all the underlying data, all the expected data, then yeah, Jonas used all of that to his advantage last year, winning the game. So, there's proof there that it works. Go and sign up. It's still 50% off. That's not going to be around for too long though. So, make sure you get that deal while you still can. And you might be thinking, oh, I've missed 3 game weeks. What's the point in doing it now? Well, there's still 35 left. It literally, if you haven't done it yet, still time, right? It's got to be done.
Yeah.
Jonas is saying it, guys. Listen to him. Anyway, mate, I think that's going to do it for this one. Pretty simple one. Easy roll for you, realistically, with Salah looking to come in next week. Another green arrow on the way. Do you reckon you've had a couple so far?
Yeah. Only green arrows so far. Let's hope for a season without red arrows. That'll be fun.
Do you think you'd 100% win the game if you had a season with 0 green arrows? So it's 0 red arrows, obviously.
No.
Really?
No. It depends how big the green arrow is.
Of course.
Because let's say you start game week 1, start with like an 8 million rank, and then get like a 1% green arrow every single game week, then you're nowhere near, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think you'd have to be very unlucky, to be fair, not to win it with 37 greens. But I mean, yeah, you never know. Did you? It's a silly question, but did you have majority green arrows last year? When you got to that sort of those upper echelons, was it you were at number 1 for a decent while, but you weren't there the whole season?
No. That's a good question. I had a red arrow in game week 6 and 7 last season before wildcarding in game week 8. Then I think I had again 2 in a row in about like maybe game week 16 and 17. I can't remember. And then I had a few around like game week 30 around that time where I really was just at the same place every week. I was around like 15th to 22nd for like a good 4 or 5 weeks. And then I had only green arrows after game week 30. After game week 29, I think 29 was my last
Wow.
bet. Or maybe I had a small, I can't remember. And then game week 34 and onwards, there were only gray arrows, luckily.
Wow. The famous grey arrow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very rare to get a grey arrow. The most likely spot for a grey arrow is number 1. But very impressive.
I think I got 4 or 5 gray arrows last season, and one of them was from 19th to 19th.
Oh, was it? Oh, that's cool, actually. Fair enough. Okay. Well, anyway, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you for the insight. Jonas's final team reveal will be posted on Fantasy Football Hub. We're recording this on Wednesday afternoon. So who knows? There might be some injury that happens, some news that will force Jonas's hand, and he might have to make a transfer. So if you want the final up to date, locked in team of Jonas's, then head on over to Fantasy Football Hub. And we will catch you guys on the next one. Good luck this week, Jonas. Another green arrow incoming, and green arrows for all of you as well, I hope.
Let's hope so.